in services.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with the teachers' matter, completely different.
Yes.
Now, my lord, here, by a recent judgment of the High Court, the High Court has struck down not only the reservations for OBC, but several provisions of the statute itself. Now, my lord, as a consequence of the statute being struck down, all reservations in the state of West Bengal have come to a complete halt, because the only authority of law under which reservations can be made in the services are under the statute of 2012, which had a list as a schedule with its own roster of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC. That was the roster, with roster points being allocated to everybody. Now, what has happened, my lord, is that the High Court has struck down the very provision of the Act. Now, my lord, on several grounds. One of them is that on the question of subclassification, this case concerns subclassification, my lord, and the judgment rendered on 1st August might have some bearing on it. Now, my lord, there is no dispute right from Indira Soni onwards that subclassification for OBC is permissible. Now, the only question, of course, is whether subclassification is done by the commission or the state. Now, our argument is, and I believe rightly so, that the power to subclassify is vested in the state. The commission has the power to recommend and identify OBCs, but the state, in its plenary executive power, has the power to decide whether or not to subclassify based on objective data, and, my lord, whether or not to, what percentage of reservation to give based on adequacy of representation. That is their exclusive prerogative. What the High Court has held is, this is not the prerogative of the state, this is the prerogative of the commission, which has been set up. There is no doubt about the fact that there is a commission in the state of West Bengal, set up as far back as in 1993, my lord. Not today. But in 2012, my lord, the state enacted a law under which they put up a system of how to give a caste certificate, how to identify, pursuant to judgments of this court, my lord, that who's going to identify. So the process is, my lord, first the commission identifies that these categories fall within OBC. That list of the commission goes to the state. After that, the state applies its mind, decides percentage, adequacy, whether to give representation, not to give representation is there. High Court says no. This function must be performed by the commission and not by the state government. And secondly, my lord, what they do, the operative order is striking down the act which enables the state to take this decision, and says, no, no, no. In future, the expression state of West Bengal will be read to mean the legislature of West Bengal. So now, my lord, what we are required to do is pass a law. Each time we want to add a category of OBC to the list of OBCs who are going to get reservation, every single time, my lord, the executive function of the state is completely taken away. Now, my lord, I have nothing to say except to cite a judgment of this honorable court. My lord, your lordship will have to, I have 2 or 3 requests. I'm obliged.
The case of absolute fraud in the
No,
constitution.
my lord, please.
It's contrary to Indira Sahni.
Allow me to finish. My lord, allow me to finish. Number 1, I'm making a request, respondent number 2, at my oral request to be transposed as a respondent. It's the petitioner number 2. Petitioner number 2. It's the commission,
But the
my lord,
commission
can
and the
speak
state
for
are
themselves. Because, my lord, a statement has been made in the judgment that they have acted as the pet of the government of West Bengal. Therefore, I don't wish to represent the commission, but in this case, let them be transposed as a respondent. Let them speak for themselves. What they did, what they didn't do. I can present to you what actually they did. They have studied every single category. There is a report in relation to each category.
Therefore, Ms. Jaising will issue notice.
Just a minute. Yes, no, that's the first request.
Then I would submit, my lord,
Minute, Lord, I haven't finished. Lord,
this
I
is an
haven't finished.
egregious case.
Just a minute.
Notice
Lord,
to
I'm grateful if they can be transport petitioner number 2.
That will do. There's no
It's all right, I'm not.
Lord, I have moved a formal application also.
Second, on the request of Ms. Indira Jaising, then it's in a council appearing on behalf of the petitioner. liberty granted to transpose the second petitioner, namely as as a respondent,
West Bengal State Backward Class Commission.
as a respondent to the.
Yes, my lord, they'll respond. Now, my lord, my second request is, we have filed additional documents bringing on record all the reports that were taken into consideration.
Actually, the High Court has done a very equitable
I
thing.
know, but they just cut down the statute.
No, but the point is,
But we not retain,
they have read it up.
they have retained all those people
My lord, I
who
have
have
not
illegally
finished.
got those jobs. They have retained, not in the West Bengal teachers case, they have struck down. Here, they have retained all those people who have worked illegally and
One second, my lord.
depriving, my lord, others who would have come in.
My lord, see this,
I have
my lord,
not
your lordship has to
77
protect
notifications.
me against these predatory attacks.
Predatory,
I don't
Miss
want these
Jaisinghya have
predatory attacks.
Miss Jaisinghya have issued notice.
My lord, allow me to argue for stay. I want to tell you the consequences of this judgment today. It is true that those who are in employment have not been disturbed. I don't dispute that. The question is, with effect from the date of the judgment, there is no reservation in the state of West Bengal at all. Now,
That's not a correct statement.
please, allow me to
Just
finish.
look at us and argue. Don't get reflected by that.
My lord, unfortunately, there are mics and I can hear everything they say. Let them switch off the mic at least.
Look at us and argue.
Yes, my lord, but tell them to switch off the mic, my lord.
Correct.
Just
Switch it off.
just while I'm arguing, then
You
they
can't
can
switch
switch
it
it on when they argue.
You can't switch it off.
Look at us and argue.
My lord, let's ignore this aside.
Yeah.
Now, my lord, I want to tell you what are the consequences of striking down the list. My lord, even the President of India issues a list. That's how a person is put in a particular category or in a particular schedule. Court says no. The entire list of reservations, the roster, has been struck down. Now, my lord, I want an answer to my question. Pending the hearing and final disposal of this petition, my lord, how am I to make reservations? I have no roster anymore. I have no list anymore. I'm asked to go to your state assembly, and every time you want to make an entry, pass a law. Therefore, what is the consequence? The consequence is, with effect from the date of the judgment, entire state of Maharashtra, West Bengal has no reservations, and this affects also NEET, okay? Because we do provide reservations in education as well, in the public sector. Now, my lord, how are we going to tolerate this situation? Therefore, I want a stay of the operation of this judgment, my lord. We cannot live with a situation in which there is no reservation at all for SC, ST, and OBC in the state of West Bengal. OBC, I'm sorry, my mistake.
Only OBC.
Only OBC. Only 39% of the population of West Bengal is OBC. 39%, my lord, is OBC. Now, from the date of the judgment, no one gets it, because the roster points in the roster said who gets what, at which vacancy they come in. There's no roster in the state of West Bengal for OBC. How long are we going to live with this situation, Lord? Therefore, this judgment requires to be stayed, because the roster has been struck down, the schedule has been struck down, the section has been struck down, and I am asked, now if you want to add one member to the list, you go. And all for what, my lord? And look at the remarks they've made against the commission. You are the pet. You are the pet of the West Bengal government. The language that has been used over there, my lord, the less said about it, the better. I don't wish to repeat it. And the commission, when they come, they'll speak for themselves. A retired Chief Justice of the High Court is heading the commission, but not. Now, the reports may be right, may be wrong. That's another matter altogether. But this is not what is expected from a court. And all because, my lord, the community happens to be Muslim. I have been told that your reservations are based on religion. My lord, this is the allegation against the state, that you've put your reservations on the basis of religion. It's a complete falsehood. It's struck down. Schedule 1, which contains the list. Give me the page number of the roster. All because they're Muslims, no other reason. I made these reservations only because they are Muslims. That's the ruling of the court, my lord. And the reports after report, every community has been separately considered. The Mandal Commission criteria have been applied. Social backwardness, economic backwardness, educational backwardness. Points have been assigned. Benchmark studies have been done. Everything on the record. And my lord, many of these communities which have been struck down are already on the central list. They are there on the central list. And many of them are in the Mandal Commission, my lord. Every one of them struck down. Your lordship will let me know how the state of West Bengal is to be administered. Now, they want to run it. The court wants to run the state. Let them run it. I want an answer to this question, my lord. How do we run the
Now,
state?
should we hear the other side? Let them respond to what you're saying.
My lord, before you
Mr.
go
Rao,
the other
you have
side,
to say.
I want to just cite one judgment of this court on who has the power to reserve. Please, my lord, get 2019-16 SCC 129. In
Let's-
black,
Yes, what is the name of the case?
Pavitra 2,
Pavitra 2. Yes.
in black and white, the judgment says the power to subclassify is that of the state executive, in black and white, my lord. May I read it? At page 189. I'm sorry, 198, para 87. Court master, if you could just,
You've got it.
given the list. Okay. Now turn to para 87.
Yes.
Now, my lord, the history of this litigation was that this court in
This came from
Pavitra 1,
Calcutta.
your lordship is aware of the history. In Pavitra 1, the reservation was struck down on the ground that there was no quantifiable data. The state went back, Karnataka, and they collected data. The Ratna Prabha committee was set up. The question is, who set up the Ratna Prabha committee? It was the state of Karnataka. That has been endorsed by this court. If you come to page 86, and that is the only thing held against me in this judgment. Why did the state do it? Why not the commission? Now let me read para 86 onwards of this judgment. The statement and objects and reasons of the Reservation Act refers to the legislative history preceding its enactment. The Ratnabhava Committee was constituted after the Reservation Act of 2002 was
Go
held to be
beyond that.
invalid.
Then 87, we have extracted the statement of objects and reasons. Let's
Yes,
go
Lord.
further down.
Then your lordship may kindly turn to the next page. No, the bottom of the page. Just
Okay.
see, the state entrusted the task of conducting the study and submitting a report on the backwardness of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in the state, the inadequacy of representation in the state civil services,
Which
and
para? Which para is this?
Bottom of page 198,
bottom of page 198.
last 3 lines.
Last 3 lines. I only want you to see who was empowered to set up this committee. It was the state. They set up their own committee. And that, my lord, by the additional secretary.
The High Court is that the state has, the backward class commission has not done this. It's
Yes.
The state which has done.
Yes, the subclassification and the percentage of reservation. Now, my lord, what is the adequacy is a political decision based on data. That decision is taken by the cabinet. If you want, I'll produce the cabinet notes before you where this decision was taken. We are told no, that decision will be by the legislature. I don't know from where this law comes. Not a single authority has been cited in favor of that. And this judgment has been, your lordship, just request and I'll produce the cabinet reports before you. Then, my lord, look. Then, my lord, one more thing. As I said, 3 things we are faulted for. Why did the state set up the benchmark committee? Why did the state give the scoring? Why did the state decide the percentage of reservation? All this is the function of the commission, ultimately of the legislature. Apart from that, my lord, I want to say one thing. One of the issues they're raising is you did not do a census. In other words, you did not enumerate every single human being. Now, my lord, there is no caste census in this country. To the best of my knowledge, the whole country, forget this thing, the state of West Bengal. And the whole controversy in the Supreme Court has been who has the power to conduct a census, not the state. Therefore, what the states do is conduct surveys. Now, in the in the Pavitra judgment, your lordships has indicated how to conduct a survey. A survey is a survey. It's quantitative, it's qualitative, it's a statistically valid sample that you have to draw from the population. It's all there, my lord, in the judgment. I'll read out para by para for you. We have followed it to the T. And the reports I have filed before the High Court and before this court. In the additional documents, I've produced every single report. Now, my lord, why am I told that no, okay, there is no discussion in the judgment on whether the reports are right or wrong. I can understand, my lord, if there was a ruling of the court saying that this report is wrong, you have used the wrong methodology, you have collected the wrong data, then it's a different matter altogether. The only thing that is said is you have no power to conduct this survey. You have no power to collect this data, and you have no power to make a decision. So, my lord, I rest my case, and I say that I must get interim relief. This judgment has to be stayed, because otherwise we are not able to run the administration of the state of West Bengal.
So Rao,
Lord, I adopt the arguments, my lord. Three matters which could not be listed, my lord. I am similarly placed, my lord. Lord, they may be tagged, my lord, with the notice, my lord. I'll give the numbers. My lord.
so Diwan, you are appearing for
No, I'm appearing for one of the original writ petitioners. I also have a.
same side
petition-
as Mr.
Yes, same side. I also have a petition which is not on law.
I wish to submit, my lord, that this is not a case which your lordship should indicate. This is an egregious case. My lord, there is a 93 Act that you have to have a commission. The commission, my lord, will do a survey. The commission gives you a report. You have to survey the entire population, then find out the backward. That is the Sunny's mandate. My lord, just turn to PDF 131. It shows you snippets, my lord, of the judgment. Snippets. You know, 109, my lord, of the running page number, probably it will be PDF 131, para 160. Para 160.
100 and
160, my lord, is the para.
Page 88. Page 88 of the.
154.
160, that is PDF 151, yes.
154. You know, see, para 160. The Act of 2012, to the extent that it excludes the application of the Act of 93.
It does not, my lord.
Madam, now please, if you don't mind. And the role of the commission, thereunder is the process of identification declaration as OBC, is in direct conflict and with violation of the dicta of the Supreme Court in Indrasani. The Act of 2012 and 93 are enforced concurrently without the former referring, applying or reforming or repealing. It therefore appears that the state has reserved to itself uncanonized power of picking and choosing.
Both
As
are
is
state
con-
laws, both are state laws, both are state.
Yeah, both are state. One after
State
the
Act.
Because my friend will allow me, if you don't mind, madam, I did not say anything after that. So, one act after the other act. So, my lord, the commission is rendered nugatory. You reserve the power yourself that I will, my lord, issue notification. So, my lord, what they do is, my lord, your lordship sees at 163, 164, next page. The High Court calls it at 164, my lord, a fraud on the constitution. And my lord, 163 last line. The state by enacting section 2 is in complete derogation of article 16(4) insofar as it excluded the role of the commission in identifying OBCs. Now, your lordship turns, my lord, to the defects, my lord.
So it's the case that therefore the identification was only done by the state without any reference. to-
Number
Yes,
one, number
yes.
two. My friend will allow me. Number two.
He cannot
Lord,
misguide like this. I'm making a statement.
my
at the
friend
bar.
must allow me.
My lord, I am making a statement at the
No
bar.
question of your
Both
statement.
are
We are going by the
reports.
judgment.
Both
The second thing.
we are implementing.
Let my friend make a statement, we have a judgment, my lord.
We'll hear you in the joint.
And